Hey, everybody. Welcome to Making Connections. This is your girl, Aly. I hope everybody is having an amazing day. Listen, I'm so excited. Y'all know I love Mondays and Saturdays because we get to hang out and chat with some cool people. So, we definitely have a treat for you today. But you saw all the flyers going across the screen. Just want to be reminded that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're gonna talk to two ladies who have walked that journey, and just want to remind you guys it's important that we take care of ourselves, that we do self checks, and that's men and women across the board. But definitely, got some good things going on in the community. The Black Family Reunion going on in Charlotte, October 13th. And so all those flyers will be in the Facebook group. If you didn't catch the information, you can check the Facebook group and see what's happening in the community. But not going to delay this interview anymore. I'm excited to bring in these wonderful two ladies, Jakina and Christy. Jakina has been with us before, you've seen her, but Christy is new to the family, so make sure y'all welcome them when they come in. There's Christy. There's Jakina. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello. Hello. Good. Thank you for having us.
Yes. So since Christy, this is your first time on the show, but Shakina, we're gonna let you do it too. I just want you to introduce yourself to the family, tell them hello, and then we'll jump in the conversation about all the good things you guys are doing and bringing some awareness to a very important issue that our society deals with on a daily basis. So, Christy.
Okay. My name is Christy Avila, and I was invited um, through Jakina, and she asked me if I'd be interested in doing this interview. International Flat Day is coming up, which is a day that I co founded in 2019. And it's a day to celebrate flat, and which means not being reconstructed after breast cancer and mastectomy. So it's a day to promote breast reconstruction awareness, so helping women understand what's involved in getting reconstructed with implants or some of the other surgeries, and just to shed a light that going flat or not reconstructing is also a healthy option, and something that more and more women are doing very happily and living content lives, being flat.
Awesome. And Jakina.
Hello again.
Hey.
I am again Jakina Denise, affectionately known as the strong-willed survivor from all my crazy journey through roller coaster ride through all my health issues. But I am very excited to be on today and to be joined by Christy. Um, to just continue educating, advocating, and celebrating life.
Absolutely. And Jakina, I remember when you were on the last time, that was the first time I had heard about flat. And you were talking about, a lot of women were getting breast implants, to help themselves to feel normal. And so, but we found out that a lot of these implants were causing diseases, and they were not working to their best, to bring health or to bring them joy. It's really causing them a lot of harm. So, Jakina, you want to jump in and talk about that a little bit and turn it over to Christy?
So yeah, again, a lot of people know my journey. Originally diagnosed with breast cancer in 2014, and I immediately had reconstructive surgery, meaning implants, expanders first put in, and then what in the cancer community they call the big swap. So I had the expanders taken out and the first set of implants put in. What I did not know at the time that my body was just rejecting the expanders, rejecting the implants. But all I knew was I was just having so much pain. Um, at the time when I first found out about that I had breast cancer, um, I didn't know if mentally I could go flat. Um, So I chose the only option that was available to me, which was breast implants. I did not have the option, like my mom, to use the fat to reconstruct a breast for herself because of my other health issues. So I went ahead and I had these implants put in. Started having immediately problems. One of my fellow warriors in the breast cancer community had said, "Honey, you are not supposed to be feeling the way you're feeling. You need to go get a second opinion." And my thing was, again, always looking out for everyone else's feelings before myself. And I was like, well, I don't want to hurt, that my surgeon's feelings by going to someone else. And she says, "Honey, you have a right to
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on with you. That's not hurting anyone else's feelings, but that's standing up and helping to advocate for yourself." So I immediately went, scheduled another another appointment with another doctor.
Uh-oh.
I scheduled an appointment with another doctor, and he immediately put in for my records from the previous surgeon. After him requesting them several times, we realized that that surgeon never did op notes on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, with people with the op notes or, your history, the documentation of what happened to you
Yep.
during surgery while that surgeon was in there doing surgery on you. Yes, you might know your normal procedure as a surgeon, but I'm not your normal patient. How do you know what you did on me, or how does anyone else know what you did on me? So, long story short, the second opinion sergeant said, "Look, we're going to have to go in blind and see what's going on. I can look at you and tell that you have several things going on, but let me go in and check." He went in and checked, and he immediately took those out. After I came out, had my appointment follow up with him, he says, "We're going to have to do 6 surgeries to fix what they messed up." In the
Wow.
meantime, I'm still having a lot of problems, still having a lot of health issues, and no one's taking in consideration, what's going on in the inside of my body. One of my doctors tried to talk to another team of doctors to say, "Look, let's look at what's going on inside. Maybe something's attacking her body from the inside out." They kind of dismissed it. It was not until I got to Georgia, and I was blessed with an amazing surgical oncologist who unfortunately just passed away.
Mm-hmm.
um, but she said it's more than a coincidence that as soon as you got these implants in, you've been having all these crazy type of procedures and health problems. I'm going to send you to a couple other people, and we're going to see what's going on. And they immediately agreed with her, and said, "We're doing emergency surgery and taking these implants out." I end up was diagnosed just last January with breast implant illness. Um, and through that journey, I was introduced to a group of women that were super amazing. They understood what I was going through, the problems that I was facing inside, my insecurities, my me not loving my the way my body looked, me looking deformed, me feeling that something was wrong with me, that I wasn't normal. Um, but these women helped me to embrace life, to embrace my new sense of my reality. And they, in turn, became my tribe. And Christy has become one of those women that has definitely helped me along this journey, and helped so many women along their journeys as well.
Awesome. Well, Christy, we're definitely gonna let you talk about, the foundation that you helped to, develop, and you're expanding it to as many women as you can. Because I know too, another thing we want to talk about is, even the family members, because they're going through the journey with you. Um, yes, they're not dealing with what you're dealing with, but sometimes, I want us to be able to help them as well. as far as how to help. Because sometimes, they'll say things like, well, Jakina, just get them taken out. I mean, they're hurting. You just get them taken out and go flat, even not knowing what flat means and not understanding how the woman this is new for her, how that makes her feel. So I definitely want to, help everybody along the way. So, Christy, what would you like to share with us about your organization and
So,
your journey?
um, so sorry. One organization that I'm currently working with and have been for the past 4 years is called Not Putting on a Shirt. And it's a breast cancer advocacy nonprofit and international organization that helps educate women about aesthetic flat closure. So I'm currently on their board as the vice president, and we attend conferences as much as we can. One big one that we go to every year is the American Society of Breast Surgeons conference.
Christy?
Oh, sorry, here I am.
Okay.
Um, so we go to the American Society of Breast Surgeons conference, and we have a booth on aesthetic flat closure. And more surgeons are saying that women are now asking for that surgery, which has been our goal all along. So when we first started, one of the hashtags we would use a lot was put flat on the menu, because we were learning that a lot of women were never given that choice. And they would say, oh, no one told me that I didn't have to try to get new breast mounds made. So that was really kind of one of our big goals, was to make sure all women had informed decisions and knew all of their options. And that aesthetic flat closure, which just means a smooth chest wall after surgery. So just kind of imagine yourself before you develop breasts. So that's what you should look like smooth and flat, and not have like extra um, skin hanging or extra tissue. Sometimes surgeons will leave extra tissue because they'll say, oh, the woman might change her mind down the line. So that's another big thing that we deal with, is being listened to, because unfortunately it seems a lot of doctors might think they know better. So even when a woman says, yeah, I don't want to get new breasts, I just want to be flat, they'll say, oh, I don't think so, I don't think you're going to like that, you're going to be depressed, or what's your husband going to think, all these
Wow.
crazy things.
Wow.
But so we just want to make sure that women know what to expect, what to ask for, so they can show pictures to their surgeon and say, this is what I want to look like. We also got the term aesthetic flat closure adopted by the National Cancer Institute. So now it's an official term where women who are requesting that surgery can have it put into their medical records. So they have recourse. Like if it turns out the surgeon just didn't do that, then the woman has recourse to say, this is what you agreed to, this is what I was supposed to get. And it's well defined there of what the results should be. So another thing, before I got involved with Not Putting on a Shirt, I started a Facebook support group, which originally I started for women who were in my situation and the situation Jakina was in, which we were having issues with our implants and needed to get them out. So I saw that there was a need for a group specifically for breast cancer survivors. I was in a larger group, which is just kind of a general group for people who maybe had augmentation, but not specifically for breast cancer. So I realized our situation was a lot different, removing our implants to flat, because when we did that, we weren't going to have any breasts at all. Um, so I started a support group called Fierce Flat Forward, and that was in 2019. And that was for women who were learning about the dangers of breast implants, or maybe were suffering with them, and to show them the path to removing them, going flat. And since that time, the group has grown. It's now over 12,000 members.
Oh, wow.
And we have found that now it's mainly made up of women who have gone straight to flat in the past few years. So while initially, like I said, it was for women explanting, um, the word's getting out. Like I have a hashtag I always say, the flat revolution is now. So, or I think we're finding that is often the surgeons at the conference that I mentioned before, they'll say, oh, more and more young women are asking for this. I have a lot of, like, in the past couple of years, a lot of younger women are asking to just be flat. And so it's definitely gaining momentum. And as more and more celebrities, not breast cancer survivors per se, but we're seeing more and more celebrities coming out about problems they had with implants. There was like Danica Patrick, who stands out to me because I wish I were a race car driver. But there's other other women coming out and saying, sharing about the issues they had. So I think we're hearing about it more, and so now women are kind of investigating whether they want implants. And then when they find the flat community, which is how it was for me too, is finding this community and going, oh, wow, like, look at all these people. Like, they're all flat and they're all fine. So
Right.
it's really helpful to see that there is this world of women out there, and that you're not alone. And it's definitely a choice that you can make, and it's an empowering choice.
Awesome. Man, and I mean, you said your group grew to 12,000, I was like, oh, wow, that's a big group. But then I was like, oh, wow, that's a big group.
Right.
Uh, you
Right,
know, the
exactly. And
people dealing, the women dealing with that.
it's interesting, like, as like, let's say the group grows and it hits the next 1,000 mark, and I'll say, I'll be excited, because for me it's more people that are learning about it and getting educated, making a choice to avoid all the pain and suffering that often comes with these reconstructive surgeries and illnesses, cancers, other problems. But oftentimes I'll have members say, oh no, like, this isn't something to be happy about. Like, look at all these women that have cancer. But yeah, that's true. It is, we don't want to see those numbers, but I just look at it on the positive side of the
Right.
women being educated and learning about the flat option.
Absolutely. Because, yeah, we don't want 20 women, 20,000 women out there suffering
Mm-hmm.
and, scared to join the group, shameful or any of that.
Mm-hmm.
No, whatever you need to join. And I say that about, various Facebook groups or, organizations. Don't be ashamed. If you're homeless, whatever situation you're in, don't be ashamed. There's so many people who have walked that path. There's so many people who've been on that journey. Get the help that you need, because there are people with genuine hearts that will be concerned and want to help you along the way. Don't you agree, Jakina?
I absolutely do. And just to kind of piggyback up what Christy said, um, I I was a part of tons of groups, where I in person groups, online groups, support groups. Um, eh, but it wasn't until I came across her group that I actually learned about the aesthetic flat closure. I've had several surgeons that said, "Oh no, you don't want to do this or you don't want to do that." Unfortunately, I'm not even sure if a surgeon will even touch me at this very moment and do the aesthetic flat closure. Um, I was supposed to have two parts of immediately getting them taken out and then letting my body heal enough to go back in and do the smooth over surgery. But unfortunately, I was told 2 days before my surgery, this February 14th was supposed to be my next surgery, that would be postponed indefinitely. So I went through a huge depression because I felt like, I already had my man made breast amputated. Then I had already had my God given breast amputated. Then I turned around and had my man made breast amputated. That tragedy is a lot to go through. Then to come to the realization that, what, due to cancer, I will never have breast again. But I started to learn and accept that But then to the point where, okay, you know what? I'm going to have all this excess skin. The way I was stitched up was just like, any type of way. And that's why I've been so vocal lately about showing how my chest looks right now, how the trauma that has been associated with that. And that's not just physical trauma, but that's emotional and mental trauma as well. So for groups like Christie's groups, it has been very educational for me, very, very healing for me. And just to be amongst a group of women that are so fierce and flat and fabulous, has just been encouraging and inspiring to me.
Amazing. And so, Christy, I know you alluded to, why you started this because, you're having problems with breast implants, but I did want to, talk about even your journey when you first found out you got that diagnosis. Whoa.
Oh, my original cancer diagnosis. Yeah,
Hmm.
so that was in 2013. I was 38 years old at the time, and my son was about to turn 3. He just turned 13 yesterday.
Oh, happy
So,
birthday.
but at the time, it was very scary. They thought I was stage 4. So, one of my scans showed something in my liver. So, at that time, they told me, yeah, sorry, you're stage 4. You don't qualify for the surgery. We're going to put you on palliative care and just do our best to keep you comfortable. And
Wow.
that went on for a few weeks, until we did a biopsy. So we had to wait for that. The biopsy came back and showed that it wasn't cancer. So after my surgery, I ended up being stage 3C, which is right before 4. So um, still scary, but not uh, incurable, I guess, at that point.
Hmm.
So I went through the double mastectomy. I chose to have both sides removed because I knew I was going to do reconstruction, and I just wanted the symmetry. And they also were finding some weird things on the healthy breast. So I just knew I didn't want to have that worry. I also have a strong history of breast cancer in my family. So I just wanted to have them both removed, which a lot of women aren't aware that that's a right that you have. If you want both removed, a lot of times the surgeon will tell you, oh, you don't need to, we don't recommend it because there's nothing wrong with it. But that's not their decision to make. There seems to be this very overprotective idea that women need rest, even if it's just one. Just keep your one. But it's really up to the woman to decide. And a lot of women want it removed for symmetry. They don't want the worry of having to go back and get mammograms and more tests and wonder if something's going on that side. So it is important for women to know that even if you're getting pushback from your medical team or surgeon that, oh, you don't need to do that, it's going to be more complications, more risks. It's really a decision for you to make. And your insurance would have to cover that if you decided you wanted both removed. Okay, so so back to so I did have both removed. I went through chemo, radiation, and then was fine. Other than the implants, one side on the side I was irradiated started to rise up, which is very common. It's a complication called capsular contracture, which means the scar capsule that the body forms around the implant because it's seeing it as a foreign object. So the immune system encapsulates it in this capsule. But when radiation is combined with implant reconstruction, that complication is often worse and develops more quickly. So for me, the one side started riding up and kind of moving more toward my armpit. And I just dealt with it. I was just like, that's the price of being a survivor. And, this is what we have to do. And my plastic surgeon, when I went back to ask him or show him, like, they were straight, but now something's going wrong. He said, well, that's just how you responded to radiation, and we couldn't have predicted that. But in 2018, when someone turned me on to breast implant illness, I learned, like, on breastcancer.org and all these other breast cancer organizations, that it is very common. And even, it was before I was even diagnosed, some of these articles were saying, do not combine radiation and implants.
Mm.
And it was very upsetting to see that that information was out there. Yet all
Right.
those years that I um, had that implant, which was about 5 years, like, I always was just feeling like it was my fault, like I didn't do radiation good. And now my implants in my armpit because my body didn't do something right, like it was on me. Um,
Right.
and then once I had more information, you just go, it's kind of almost like the stages of grief, I guess. You go through the anger, the shame, the despair. I don't even know the stages of grief, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
You go through all these
Yeah.
different
It's safe.
emotions. Um, so I actually had decided I was going to get a revision, which is also very common. They were going to take both implants out and put new ones in, and I had decided I was going to go forward with that. And when I shared that with a friend, my cousin actually, she asked me, have you heard of breast implant illness? And I said, never heard of that. And she added me to a Facebook group called Breast Implant
Mhm.
Illness and Healing by Nicole, which is the group I had mentioned earlier. And I just kind of started reading, watching for several months, honestly, just watching what was going on there. And after all that time of seeing women, like, their before and after, uh, you know, they are doing awfully, and then they get their implants out, and then they would show their picture like 2 days later, and you can just see the difference, like an incredible difference in just
Yeah.
their face. And I was like, I mean, I wasn't really suffering that extremely. At least I thought. But seeing all those pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, if they are that bad, that all these people look so different, 48
Yeah.
hours later, they're probably not good for me. And a lot of the problems I had, I associated with my treatment, like maybe it's chemo brain. Like, I was very just like forgetful, like mid sentence I would forget what I was saying and have to ask the person, what am I talking about?
Mhm.
And I was teaching at the time, and same thing, like lecturing in front of my students, just stopping and not knowing what was going on. And I associated that with my treatment. I was on aromatase inhibitors to keep the breast cancer away, and those are known to cause like a lot of the same side effects. So I
Mhm.
just kind of, and then I had gone through surgical menopause. I was getting older. So all the kind of little small issues or things that were going wrong, I just connected it to my treatment. And then it really wasn't until the implants came out that was more because of the complication I had described with it being tight and uncomfortable. But once they came out, all these things went away.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh wow, like I guess all of that was actually my implants, and even things I didn't know were wrong, but it was like, then I noticed, oh, my ear's not ringing anymore. Just
Mhm.
little small things that I realized really how much they had been affecting me without knowing it.
Wow. Yeah, I know we had a interview on Saturday with the group called Hope for All, and they're nurses and things like that. So we were talking about, a lot of times people now don't get second opinions for whatever reason. I'm not sure. I know you trust your doctor and everything, but it's okay to get a second opinion. And we were
Mhm.
talking about how, whatever's going on with you, just write it down, because you go to the doctor and there's only so much time, or you're running late, or you've gotten, aggravated, you might forget some of the symptoms you've been having. So,
Mhm.
we were just talking about how important it is to write down everything that's going on,
Mhm.
and just see,
Journaling has
okay,
been
what can this be
a
related to?
yeah.
Go ahead, Shakina, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry about that.
No.
Journaling has been a huge help That's one thing when I talk to other survivors, one thing I say, because we have that brain fog, cancer brain, some people call whatever, make sure you're journaling the symptoms you're having. Make sure you're journaling um things that you're experiencing inside of your body, to go back and to discuss with your medical team. Writing things down helped me a lot, because I too was forgetting. I too, I would leave out the office and be like, oh, I should have asked them this. Or,
Mhm.
I forgot about this, but, or until someone else, reminded me of that. And then I would go back to the doctors and have my list and say, okay, you know what? I was experiencing this, and this. But I too, related a lot of what I was experiencing health wise with other illnesses or with other diagnoses. And it wasn't until I started learning about breast implant illness and the effects it has on your body that I started realizing, like, oh, wow. And then even how I am now a year later, after having them out, and just watching how my body is just healing a lot better. I'm
Mhm.
getting along a lot better without them in there.
Mhm. Wow, it's so much, and that's why I love to have these conversations, because people need to know, because there might be somebody listening like, mine is going off to the right or the left, and I don't understand that. I just thought, like you said, it's just what I'm going through. It's just chemo making me tired. It's just, but I think when you've had a situation, you have to really journey every step. Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
feeling like this before this. Now I'm feeling like this after even the medication or whatever it is. You have to know and be able to acknowledge and tell the doctors, because they'll ask you questions. You're like, well, I don't really know when this happened or when I started feeling like this. So I think it's good, like you said, to journal every step, so you'll have something that you can present, and you can say, no, this is a pattern.
And there's a side effect to everything. A side effect to every surgery, a side effect to every medication they give you, a side effect to everything that we put in our bodies.
Mhm.
So it's very again, I'm gonna constantly keep saying, being your own advocate, and educating yourself on the effects of, when a doctor prescribes you this type of medication, look it up, make sure it's not contradicting another medication. Or, like
Mhm.
Christy said, she found out information about radiation and breast implants. So, you know what? Now it's time. A lot of us are having radiation, a lot of us are having chemo. This is time to now look up and do your own research on, okay, I've had chemo, or I've had or I'm supposed to have, or they suggested I have. What are my options?
Right.
Mhm.
I think that's really important. Like when we're diagnosed, you're just reeling, you're terrified, you're in a state of, probably flight, just not in a mindset that you're thinking, oh, let me research about breast implants, because you're trusting your doctors. I think that's very
Right.
normal, and that
Right.
we have to, sometimes we beat ourselves up. Oh, why didn't I do more research? Well, like for me, because I was dealing with what I thought was a stage 4 diagnosis that was stage 3, and just how am I going to get through chemo? How am I going to survive? Am I going to survive? Researching breast implants was the last thing on my mind. And especially when I have a doctor saying, oh, these are safe, these are FDA
Right.
approved,
Right.
I'm not going to take the time to go see if that's true or not. I'm just going to trust that they're the professionals, they have the information, they are doing what's best for me. So I think it makes sense that we don't always do that research. But yeah, if you're out there now and you're hearing these things and you have the time, like I always say, if one person from my family, like if I would have put my sister in charge and said, hey, go to the FDA site and research implants, like within 24 hours, we would have known I wasn't getting them. So, like, just take the time if you have it, um, to do your research. Even with things like radiation, more and more we're learning that that's kind of probably something that's going to be phased out in the future, because and I think overall the percentage that it lessens your chance of recurrence is like 2 to 3%. And
Well,
that was something I never knew and until after. And had I
mhm,
known, like, okay, you're going to go through 5.5 weeks of radiation. Actually, it was 6.5 weeks, and that's going to bring your chances of recurrence down 2 or 3%. I would have not signed up for it. I thought we had to do it. We need to do this to save your life. And
that's
I
right. I
didn't ask
wouldn't
any questions. I just trusted that. So I think women that are in the position, oh, they're saying I need radiation. Let me ask these questions. What percentage is it going to change things? And then make that decision for yourself. And I remember, talking to one of my doctors and saying, well, I didn't know that was going to be only 3% difference. And he said, that's huge. Like 3% in the cancer world is huge. But when you're the one getting up on that table for 6.5 weeks and going through radiation, 3% might not be worth that to you.
right.
So um, it's things that we need to just be our own advocates, like Jakina was saying. Another point I wanted to go back to, you had mentioned um, women maybe hearing something familiar about like their symptoms, or oh, maybe I have this or I have that. One thing that I find is uh, when learning about breast implant illness, a lot of women will feel, oh, well, that could be all these other things, and it could be, and they wonder, what if I get my implants out and nothing goes away? And that
Mhm.
could be, that could be too. And they don't have a test for breast implant illness, so it's not like they can do a blood test and tell you, oh yeah, you have that. So I guess that is a tricky part of this whole process if you're considering explanting, is you don't know for sure. So I'll see women in the group struggling, oh, what if I go through all that and it's not the reason for my symptoms? And it really is like a leap of faith. It's just something you won't know until you take them out. That's really the only way to know, is to remove them. As long as you have them, you can wonder, what is it? Is it just these other things? Is it the implants? Um, but, and I had a woman recently that she struggled for like 6 months about what to do. And that worry of, oh, what if it isn't? What if it isn't? What if nothing goes away? And really struggling. And she did it just last week, after 6 months of agonizing. And she's doing great. Like right away, she said she felt better. Her brain fog went away. Her anxiety went away. She said she would do it 1,000 times again.
Oh, wow.
Even
So,
with me, like my doctor actually said, I had thought about the whole percentage, and he came straight out and said, I'm not sure if this is going to make you better. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if you didn't get this way overnight. So your healing journey may take a while, but aren't you worth it? Giving your body a fighting chance, isn't that worth it? And even to this day, every time I look back at that, I'm thankful that I did have these couple medical professionals that said, you know what, let's give your body a fighting chance.
Right,
And I took them up on that, and I gave my body that fighting chance.
right, right. Well, this is definitely all information, just so you can have the information, so you can make a better decision. And, nobody's telling you which way to go. We're just basically giving you the information. And, I'm with you, Christy. I was just thinking when you were talking, I was like, I would have my cousin Michelle to go online and do the research. She would tell me all about everything. So, when you're going through that, you have to find that somebody that you can trust and rely on. And she would come back and give me the information, but she would
yeah.
absolutely allow me, okay, now it's really on you. I can't tell you what to do, but I did find the information that you wanted.
It's
Yeah.
all
And I
about
think that's
providing the information and allowing each person to make their own informed decision.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I
Christy.
think, and we could be overwhelmed with getting the information. So it is, if you have a person you trust that you're like, oh, they could handle this. Like you're saying, you would give it to your cousin Michelle. Like just if you have that friend that's good at that stuff, you could say, "Hey, can you look into this for me? Can you look into radiation and the percentages on that, or can you look into this medicine, or removing lymph nodes, anything." And there's a million aspects of cancer treatment, but just
Right.
get your team together and assign, delegate tasks to different
Yeah.
people.
And it's your team, so you have to build it according to what your needs are. Like I have another friend who would go on mine, but I don't want her diagnosis because everything would be terrible. I'm gonna, nothing's gonna help me. I'm gonna die either way, like tomorrow. So you really have to know, the people that you are putting on your team and how it's gonna work best for you.
Hmm.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then I know you guys have a big event coming up. And so you're going to tell us a little bit more about that event and more about the National Flat Day. But we're going to take a quick commercial. Jakina, you might remember this from the last time. And we'll be right back more with Christy and Jakina.
Did not know you guys were going to play that.
Well, I'll give you a second, but I do wanted to ask you,
Whoops.
why, beyond the scars. I think that I love that statement. I love that title, and so I wanted to ask you about that. But I can come back to you if I need. Well, she might have needed a minute to come back. So, Christy, tell us a little bit about your the National Flat Day that's coming up, and some of the
Okay,
activities you
so
guys are going on.
International Flat Day. This is going to be the fifth year of International Flat Day. So we're having a big celebration to kind of commemorate the milestone of the fifth one. It's going to be in San Francisco, which is where I began International Flat Day. So once we decided to have International Flat Day, we encourage women to walk across a bridge to kind of advocate for awareness and to put themselves out there. And that was a very small beginning. So I put out on social media in my group, which wasn't very big at the time, but I advertised in the other flat groups and some breast cancer groups that I was going to be walking the Golden Gate Bridge and for people to meet there for us to spread awareness about the flat option. And we had aqua blue shirts, which kind of has become the color of not only International Flat Day, but I think kind of just associated with the flat movement a little bit. We wanted to move away from the pink because we just felt that was kind of overdone, and to kind of differentiate ourselves from all the pink of breast cancer. Awareness Month, but we wanted the day to be during Breast Cancer Awareness Month because obviously it's connected. So
Right.
I put out the message and I went to the Golden Gate Bridge, which is about an hour and a half from where I live. And I had a meeting spot that I had advertised. It was a certain statue at the visitor center. And I waited and waited and no one was coming. And I was like, oh my God, I prayed, like, please, like, let like somebody come. And so I waited, and then I was pretty much to the point where I was just gonna start walking because it was gonna only be me. And then at the last minute, someone appeared and she had her aqua shirt that she had made herself. So she had gotten the iron on letters that say flat, and she had done it herself. And
Oh,
so it was super cute, and there she was. And then we looked to the left of us, and there was this girl in a big, like, poofy dress, the exact color of the flat day, like a big tulle dress and a crown. And we're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? This is like our flat fairy appeared. And so we asked her if we could take a picture, and she was actually there to get photos for her quinceañera. So she came to the
oh,
bridge, and she's, a young girl. Let me ask my mom. So she asked her mom, and then we got the pictures with her. And so ever since then, we call her our flat fairy because it was just like so perfect that she just appeared in the
yeah.
right color at the right moment. But so we walked on the bridge together, and there were about five other women throughout the country that I had known through my advocacy that also did a march. They were on their own, so like four others.
Oh, wow.
And let's see, one was in Pittsburgh, one was in Boston. I'm forgetting where the other two. One was in Florida, and they all did a walk and posted their picture.
Oh,
So that was kind of its beginnings, its humble beginnings back in 2019. And then it's slowly grown, mainly on social media. So every year we'll kind of have a theme or slogan, and ask women to post pictures on that day. Like, there's an international Facebook page, International Flat Day public page on Facebook, where I'll start a post, and then women from around the world will add their picture on that day. And some people are still doing, like, the bridge walks are still encouraged. So you'll see some of that, people walking in small groups, or still, on their own. But we decided to return to San Francisco for the 5-year anniversary, being that
yeah.
that's where it all started. And the amazing thing is, this year we'll have about 100 women meeting to walk on the bridge.
Oh, wow.
So it's just, I'm getting chills, like, just thinking about it. But from where it started, that, 5 years later, we're going to have like a huge representation. Um, After we walk on the bridge, well, it's going to start with some stretching, that one of our flat advocates is going to lead us in some stretching before we walk. And after the bridge, we'll walk another mile as a group, kind of in a flat parade or flat walk, which I usually call it. We'll walk to the park celebration, which is about a mile away. And we'll have our aqua. I'm sure we'll have plenty of topless, breastless women marching. We'll have signs, and um, get to the park, where our celebration will include just a picnic lunch and time to socialize. And we'll do some team kind of bonding activities. We'll have a temporary tattoo station for women who want to experiment and have some temporary tattoos put on them. We'll have a fun photo booth that just kind of has like a lot of aqua and teal paraphernalia that people can dress up and take fun pictures together.
Yeah.
And we're also planning to do a photo, which kind of getting a kink in it because there's a no-fly zone because it's Fleet Week in San Francisco. So there's a big air show, and we found out there was a no-fly zone, and we were planning to do this drone shot, but no drones are allowed, that we just
Yeah.
discovered this weekend. But so we're trying to rework how we're going to do that. But we wanted to spell out flat with all of the women who are there,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
um, not laying down, like making the letters, but
Yeah.
just kind of standing and form of
Yeah.
each letter, and then to try to get the shot from above somehow with all of us spelling out flat.
Hmm.
So that's another kind of part of the day that hopefully we can still figure out a way to make it happen. I'm like, what if we got on a 16-foot ladder and then hold like an 18-foot like gainer pole up and have the phone on top?
Oh,
Like,
goodness.
can we get the shot? So we're trying to figure that out. I'm like determined that we're gonna find a way to do it.
It's gonna
Um,
happen. Yeah.
so, and then after the park celebration, which is open to everybody, it's free to everybody that wants to attend. There is an International Flat Date Gala, and that's going to be a dinner cruise on the San Francisco Bay. And that we did sell tickets for just to cover the cost or most of the cost of the
Mhm.
cruise. And we have 80 women signed up for that part, and that's going to be a 3 hour dinner cruise on the San Francisco Bay, and that's how we'll finish out the day.
Oh, wow. That sounds awesome.
Which I'm already here in San Francisco, super excited and waiting for the ladies to get here and
Yes.
talking to everyone and sharing information about International Flat Day. So, met someone from the media actually the other day.
Are they going to
So
come?
they said they were going to try to work it into their schedule. So I am looking forward.
Yeah.
Hopefully that can work out. But it's all in the spirit of, educating and advocating and celebrating life each and every day. Yes, this is October, which has been kind of pink washed. But for us, educating and advocating isn't geared to just one particular color or ribbon or one particular month. It's 365 days a year. So, but I am super excited to actually embrace, I give our heart to heart hugs and walk across this San Francisco Bridge or Golden Gate Bridge with my fellow survivor sisters.
Awesome. I know this is going to be an awesome time. So we're hoping Jakina can jump in on Saturday when you guys are there and just kind of show us what's
Oh,
happening
uh-huh.
during Saturday's show. And so, we won't take up much of your time because I know you guys are, busy, busy, but we'd love to see, the turnout and the faces and the just the excitement of, like you said, about life and, having a tribe that understands, where you've been, where you are and where you're going. So I think that's awesome. So kudos to you ladies. I appreciate you
Thank
guys
you.
for sharing even with me, all of this information because, you know, my mom is a breast cancer survivor. So, you know, I'm excited. Hopefully, maybe we can catch up with you guys next year and maybe do something together. So I think that would be cool.
Absolutely.
So I know our time has come to a close, but I do, Jakina, want you to talk about that statement that the group beyond the scars. What does that mean for you?
Beyond the Scars, actually, again, we started off this journey in 2014 with people naming me the strong willed survivor. And it just evolved. Again, it's created, we did our very first celebration of life, which came from my now 21-year-old, I can't believe he's 21-year-old son who created the first Kids Fun Day for cancer survivor children
Mhm.
in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And at that point, it was like, you know what? If this young man, this kid, this preteen that just came from another country and, got the most devastating news of his mom being diagnosed, can want to do something to help other people, then, that's my mission. Let's put some education and advocacy on this. So in 2017, Beyond the Scars was born, or birthed, as I choose to call it, where Beyond the Scars is an organization, nonprofit now organization, raising awareness, educating all the effects that having a chronic illness plays on the entire family, not just the person diagnosed, but the children, the parents, the significant others, our community at large. It's not just a physical thing for just us diagnosed, but it also is mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. So our mission has just been to continue educating, continue advocating, and continue celebrating life. We honor the survivors and the legacy of those that came before us. I choose to say that they didn't lose their battle, because their battle continues in each one of us that they have deposited those little nuggets of wisdom into. So the celebrating the legacy of the butterflies. Um, and again, just making sure that everyone knows that there is beauty beyond the scars. My mic went out.
No, we got it.
Okay.
That was great. Uh-oh.
Can't hear you. So contact information is, you can always connect with us on social media. We have a Strong World Survivor page, as well as a Seeing the Beauty Beyond the Scars. You can email strongworldsurvivor@gmail.com. We have some great things coming up for not just those diagnosed with cancer, but those with chronic illnesses, where we're going to do some retreats, and getaways. We're planning a cruise for next year, cruising for the heart of it. So super, super excited. Please just continue um, to help us in our mission to educate, advocate, and celebrate life. And stay tuned. I will make sure that I post some information about International Flat Day with Christy and all the beautiful women that are coming from all around the world.
Y'all